Hey, welcome back. Today, we're going to dig into the story of an invention that, well, it quietly changed everything. We're talking about the humble pot. Yeah, I know, it's something you probably see every single day, but have you ever really stopped to think about just how revolutionary it was?
So, let me ask you something. If you had to pick the single greatest invention in all of human history, what would it be? What's the first thing that pops into your head?
For most of us, our minds probably jump to the classics, right? You've got the wheel, for getting around, writing for keeping records and sharing ideas, maybe the sword for building empires, or the printing press for spreading knowledge like wildfire. And look, those are all fantastic, world-changing answers, no question, but they might not be the whole story.
What if one of the most game-changing inventions in history wasn't some grand machine or a powerful weapon, but was simply the humble clay pot? I know, it sounds almost too simple to be true, but just stick with me on this.
Okay, so let's start here. A revolutionary invention. We're going to focus on how fired clay totally transformed daily life for early people in Central America. Just try to imagine a world without pots for a second. That was reality. Then, someone figured out a simple trick. You take some clay, you shape it, and you harden it in a fire. This seemingly small discovery sparked a quiet revolution. One that wasn't about conquering kings, but about building a better, more stable home.
Before pottery, what did people use? Baskets, maybe some gourds, or animal skins, and those worked, kind of. But they had some serious drawbacks. Baskets leak, gourds are fragile, animal skins get soggy, and you definitely can't put any of them over a fire. Pottery solved all of that in one go. Suddenly you have something that's watertight, fire-resistant, super durable, and way easier to clean. It was a complete upgrade for everyday life.
Which leads to the next question. How did they figure this out? We're talking about the magic of fired clay. And it really was a kind of magic. But it wasn't a single aha moment. It was this long, slow burn of trial and error. A truly complex technology hiding inside a really simple object.
Just think about the process for a minute. First, you've got to find the right kind of clay. Not just any dirt will do. Then, you have to learn how to shape it by hand so it doesn't just fall apart. Next comes the really tricky part. You have to let it dry, slowly and patiently, because if you rush it, it's just going to crack. And finally, the last step, you have to control fire. Not too hot, not too cold, to bake it into a permanent, hard ceramic. Every single one of those steps is a piece of hard-won knowledge.
So yeah, this wasn't some lucky accident. This was a long chain of observation, of experimenting, of failing, and of gradually improving. It represents incredible human ingenuity and a really deep practical understanding of the natural world.
So once people finally mastered pottery, it completely reshaped the two most critical activities for human survival: how they cooked their food and, just as importantly, how they stored it.
Let's talk about cooking first. I mean, this was a culinary revolution. Before pots, you could basically just roast or toast food over a fire. But with a pot that can take the heat, you can boil water. That was a total game changer. All of a sudden, tough grains and plants that were impossible to eat before, now they're on the menu. You can make nutritious stews and soups, which makes food way easier to digest and a whole lot safer to eat. This literally expanded the human diet and helped fuel population growth.
And then you have storage. I love this quote. It just nails it. Storage is one of the foundations of more stable life. It's so true. Being able to put things away for later is absolutely fundamental to building a more complex, more secure way of life.
Think about it. With a good, solid pot, you can protect your grain from bugs and rain, saving it for the winter or spring. That simple act protects you from famine. It allows you to actually plan for the future. And, maybe most importantly, it lets you stay in one place. It supports a more settled, less nomadic lifestyle. But pots weren't just about food. They also gave humanity something else, something incredible, a permanent record of itself. This is how we started reading the past in pots, through art, culture, and trade. I mean, a pot is way more than just a container, right? It's a canvas. Once you have this durable surface, you can decorate it. You can paint on it, you can carve into it, you can shape it in all these unique ways. It becomes a medium for expressing who you are, for telling stories, and for bringing beauty into everyday life. Because of this, and because fired clay can last for thousands and thousands of years, pottery essentially becomes a historical fingerprint. Think about it. Wood rots, cloth disintegrates, baskets turn to dust,
but little broken pieces of ceramic survive, holding all these clues to the people who made and used them.
So what can this fingerprint tell us? Well, archaeologists can use the style of a pot to figure out how old a site is. The specific designs can tell them which cultural group lived there. And hey, if you find a pot made from clay that only exists 200 miles away, bam, you've just discovered an ancient trade route. It's an absolutely incredible window into the past.
And that really brings us to a powerful idea, one I find fascinating. We tend to think of civilization in terms of, giant pyramids and famous kings. But it's also built on these quiet, profound improvements in ordinary, day-to-day domestic life. So the legacy of this humble pot is anything but humble. It made our homes more functional, it created more stable food systems, it helped organize our daily lives, it gave us a canvas for art and culture, and by doing all that, it laid the essential groundwork for more complex societies to even exist. So the next time you use a ceramic bowl or a mug, just take a second to appreciate its long and incredible history.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Thousands of years from now, when archaeologists are digging through the layers of our world, what simple, everyday objects from our time will they find? And what kind of stories will those objects tell about us? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one.